Okay, hello everybody. We have the Exploits of Ninurta. This is covered by The Secret, obviously, so go check out that. That's the first video I made on the Masterless Master channel. This is my first time reading this, so usually with these esoteric stuff, I have to read it a few times. And I pick up more meaning each time, I guess. So if you want to read this, go read it, check it out. So let us begin. This starts with, a bunch of praise of Ninurta. Then we're told that he is in a celebration of himself, and other people are celebrating him. And then his trusty mace. I think his name is Kar-ur, right? That's a good name. So his trusty mace, Kar-ur, he cries aloud, right? And he tells Ninurta about this this monster called Asag, who is being a tyrant in the mountains. I think to the north? I don't know. I guess I'm just assuming. If this was Sumer, then the mountains are to the east. Anyways, let's see. And this mace tells him about this Asag, and he gives him just tons and tons of more praise, So it starts out with praise from Ninurta, and this his trusty battle mage is just filled with praise. Okay. So let's start right here. So the battle mace gets done telling him all this. And so what is Ninurta's reaction, right? The Lord cries, "Alas!" so that heaven trembled, and the earth huddled at his feet and was terrified at his strength. Enlil became confused and went out of the Kur. The mountains were devastated. That day the earth became dark. The Anuna trembled. The hero beat his thighs with his fists. The gods dispersed. The Anuna disappeared over the horizon like sheep. The Lord arose, touching the sky. Ninurta went to battle with one step. He covered a league. He was an alarming storm and rode on the 8 winds towards the rebel lands. So what is his reaction, right? The hero, right? The hero beats his thighs with his fists. So in other words, he is throwing a tantrum, right? He is clearly throwing a tantrum. And so, and we have to admit that the author is clearly showing this to us, but not clearly, right? Because there's some men who are going to read this and it's going to pass over their heads because they're, they slobber at the ground Ninurta walks upon. He man hero. And so they're not going to see it. But, anybody who knows human behavior knows that this man is throwing a tantrum. And so, or this god is throwing a tantrum. And so we have to pause. We have to say, hey, what's going on here? Because the author of this text is being impious, is he not? Because Ninurta is being discussed or being talked about um, in a hint, hint, this guy's an idiot type way, right? Um, I mean, everybody assumes this author to be a pious man, right? But he is, very clearly making fun of Ninurta. And in this light, right, we have to think about Enlil, Ninurta's father. Enlil became confused and went out of the Cur, right? And so Enlil in this story is, if we want to compare him to any characters, the only character I can think of would be Samford and Son, right? So Enlil is a lot like Samford, right? I mean, Enlil's not really confused. He's acting like the fool. Because as we'll see in the text, Enlil is in charge of Ninurta, and as well as Kar-Ur, as well as Ninurta's mother. All of these, and we have to wonder about the relationship that they all have with each other through Ninurta, right? Because I mean, they're all using this idiot, right, to their own ends. And Kar-Ur seems to be on both Enlil and um, Ninurta's mother's side. but these used to be, I think, lands ruled by Enlil. And at the end of the story, you're going to have Ninurta's mother getting these lands, right? So Ninurta is clearly a character whose his heroism, right? His heroism is being used. So they wind him up like a toy, and point him in a direction, and he goes and he does his thing. And so we have to really question who this Ninurta is. So let's look at what Ninurta is doing. Well, he's drinking a whole lot. So he's just go, and Bao, whoever Bao is, was pleading petitions in a prayer for the king, right? So what does this mean that he's pleading petitions in a prayer for the king? And he was handing down decisions, It doesn't sound like this is legal stuff going on. It sounds like, the temple would get a whole lot of treasure from the people, and then they dole this treasure out. So if we want to think about what's going on here, we could think about modern day people who go and get taxes, right? So a rich man or a businessman or someone who wants tax money for whatever reason. You might want to build an after-school program. So what are you going to do? You're going to plead and petition in prayer for the stuff. So it's like kind of something, and they're getting him drunk while he's doing this, right? So I mean, Ninurta is a total tool, right? He's a complete and total tool. And so all of this stuff is sarcasm, right? That's how it has to be read. O king, storm of majestic splendor, peerless Ninurta, possessing superior strength, right? I mean, if we want to look at the relationship of what's going on here, we could think about the story of Mice and Men, right? Where you have the big dumb guy, and he is being used and manipulated by the the short intelligent man, right? And that's been caricatured in different stories ever since. No. So, but I mean, this is the OG story of, I mean, this is what's going on here, right? And we can, now, when we think about this author, we have to think about, well, who is this author? Because this is an author who clearly knows about human behavior, right? And this is the human yearning for praise, right? Um, but we would have to assume that most people who read this story are not going to see this man's true praise, right? So this man sees praise in a different way. He would rather have praise from one wise man than a million idiots. um, so this isn't. I mean, this isn't a man who's impious, right? Because he's a man who knows about human behavior, and for a man to know about human behavior is for a man to know about himself, right? So there is this sort of weird impious piety coming from this man, right? It's I think very strange. But I mean, here's the true power of this tale of Ninurta, right? It's inspiring great numinous power, right? He Ninurta is the man that this author is using to inspire the tools. No. Um, and I mean, we could condemn him. We could condemn him for manipulation. Um, but at the same time, if you know human behavior, then you would know that some people are just stubborn, right? There are some characters who are Ninurtas, right? And you may try and try and try, but you know they're gonna forever be a Ninurta. And so it's like, how do you deal with something like that? Um, and if you look at this idea of a shepherd, right? That's an insulting. That's very insulting, right? To call a man a sheep. But a shepherd manipulates the sheep, right? And ideally for this author, all men should see his true praise, right? Because I mean, this man is being very silly here. This is a very comedic text. Lord of lofty station, foremost one who presides over all lords from the throne dais. Whose decisions are faithfully executed, right? So Ninurta makes the decisions, right? But we go down here to this last sentence, right? My Ninurta, whose form Enki contemplates, right? I think Enki's the god of wisdom. So he's calling Ninurta wise here. My Uta Ulu, that sounds very intimate. You know, I don't know. Lord, son of Enlil, what is to be done, right? I mean, so it's like this Kar is telling Ninurta what to do. Like, what is to be done? Like, there's really only one answer to that question. Go beat bad guy, you know. There's only one answer. And so Kar-Ur is telling him what to do. And yet, at that place he was being described, because that's a funny line, right? Whose decisions are faithfully executed, my master. That's very funny because Kar-Ur is the one making the decision, not Ninurta. And so Kar-Ur's decisions are being faithfully executed. And Ninurta is the master, or not Ninurta, Kar-Ur is the master. But Kar-Ur is calling the slave the master. So I mean, and then let's look at how he describes the Asag. I don't know if he does it here or later on. I think it's later on. But he says that he's he calls him arrogant, right? He's talking about the Asag, and he's like, this is an arrogant man. And yet, couldn't we say that's who Ninurta is, right? In describing the Asag, he's kind of describing Ninurta. And one more thing before we go on to his genocidal rampage. Okay, there it is. Hero, they have appealed to you because of your father, son of Enlil, Lord. Because of your superior strength, they are looking to you here. Since you are strong, my master. So okay, first thing to point out is that like Ninurta's going to conquer, but Enlil's going to gain it all. And we'll see that later. Ninurta who conquers for his father. The pride of his father, right? That's a joke, right? Because Enlil's using Ninurta like a rube, right? The Ninurta is the golden rube, right? And so that when he says pride of his father, there's a hint, joke, haha there. But oh no, here we go. They have appealed to you. They. So who are they? They are the people who are now suffering under the tyranny of Asag. Right? And we have to understand this because of what's about to happen. And so what happens? This is a genocidal tantrum where Ninurta and his armies just start killing everyone. Right? And unfortunately, I mean, this is Sumerian text. And this is not me saying this. I'm just interpreting the text. La, 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 la. But unfortunately, there will be some comedy coming up here. So he's just like Lord Ninurta is just destroying everything, and this is not what Enlil wanted, because Enlil wants this lands for himself, and they're going to be useless if everybody's dead. Okay, so he's doing all this killing, and so Kar-Ur now talks to him. Hero, beware. Hero, pitfall, net of battle, Ninurta, king, celestial mace, irresistible against the enemy, vigorous one, tempest which rages against the rebel lands. I mean, Ninurta is a very insecure man. wave which submerges the harvest. King, you have looked on battles. Oh, and that's dot 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 in the thick of them. Ninurta, after gathering the enemy in a battle net, after erecting a great altar, purify your pickaxe and your mace, right? So in other words, clean off the blood, right? Stop the killing. He's saying stop the killing. And then he praises him some more about, he lists off the names of all those he killed. So think about a fight promoter. This is Kar the fight promoter. But Lord, do not venture again to. I'm not joking here. That's what he's doing. That's what I mean. You have to read it as if he's doing fight promotion stuff, right? Because this is gonna sound really cool to the Ninurta worshippers out there. Yeah, he beat Dragon. He beat the six-headed wild ram. He beat the Magalim boat. This is, the wily Kar. But now here's the important part, right? But Lord, do not venture again to a battle as terrible as that. Do not lift your arm to the smiting of weapons, to the festival of the young men, to Inanna's dance. Lord, do not go to such a great battle as this. Do not. Hero who is so handsome in his crown, right? And so, if you ever come across a toxic or weak person, right? Because we have to question the character of Ninurta. Because would we say any of this is malice or just stubborn idiocy? I don't know. What do you guys think? But this is again about insecurity here. So what's he do? He praises him, and then this is like think about a sugar. This is sugar, and then he puts the pill in there. Because he doesn't want to piss Ninurta off by telling him what to do. And by telling him that he's doing wrong, right? The hero, the son, the pride of his father, right? Rising from profound deliberation, right? And that's funny, right? Rising from profound deliberation, right? So Ninurta doesn't think at all. Like, he's still in tantrum mode right here. All of this profound deliberation were the thoughts of Kar. So he's mocking Ninurta when he says that. Let's see. Let's stop it right there. Because Ninurta still needs to fight the Asag.